right, so this book is called The Story of Atlantis. All right, this book is called The Story of Atlantis. The Story of Atlantis. And we have 4 maps that came with the book in the beginning of the book. 4 maps. The maps let you know where Atlantis was. It lets you know who all inhabited. It also lets you know, the red lets you know how far the Atlanteans went when they traveled. Okay. So in the beginning of the map, you know, the red is Atlanteans, you know what I'm saying? So we went from, we from here in America and everything like that, and we stretched over to Africa and Asia and India as well, you know what I'm saying? So boom, this is Atlantis in its prime. Then when stuff started getting more spread it out a little bit, as you can see still, this is America. You got the Atlanteans, this is in the red. You got Atlantis right here in the middle of America. This is America, this is Atlantis. And then again, all the red is where the Atlanteans went and dwelled. All right. Same thing with all the other pictures. So if y'all want to get the screenshot, y'all go ahead and do it now if y'all want to. What's happening, 51 Terror? Shout out to everybody that's in here. If you're new to the page, go ahead and hit that follow button. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. We do this every time you see me live. You're going to learn something new. All right? Saying it, beautiful guys. Glad you could tap in too. All right. Let's go ahead and get it. Let's get into some shit. I got it smaller so I can read it to y'all. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Zed and Sherry of CEO Kentucky Fitness, Fit Mom. Hold on, y'all. I was looking for something real quick. So, let's get into it. What are we talking about? We talking about the story of Atlantis. God dang, numbers dropped quick. But okay, we good. We good. But it was at 60 and 40, now we at 20. Okay. Must have been bots. So, shout out to the real class that's in here. So we're going to flip the page of the story of Atlantis, and we're going to be talking about similarities and ethnological types. Similarities and ethnological types. All right, we're talking about the inhabitants of Atlantis. All right, we're talking about Atlantis, the inhabitants. Shalom, what's happening? So, as it reads, Atlantis, as we shall see, is said to have been inhabited by red, yellow, white, and black races. Colors, right? All right. We know nobody's white, and we know nobody's black, and we know nobody's yellow. All right, but we're going to keep going, though, for the sake of time. It is now proved by the researchers of Lee Piogen D. Quarterfuges, however you say his name, I know I butchered it, but it is now proven by him and Bancroft and others that black populations of Negroid type existed even up to recent times in America. Of course, we still here. I mean, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all still here. They call us black, so we know who they talking about, but we know that we not black. You know what I'm saying? But we know who they talking about, though. So, yeah, we still here. We ain't go nowhere. They want you to think that you went somewhere. They want you to think you are extinct. You ain't extinct. You still here. People don't even know that they walking and living amongst ancient tribes right now and ancient people. You know what I'm saying? We just wear modernized clothes and we evolve with the time, but people don't even know. Some people do know outside of America, the colony of America. But inside this colony of America, a lot of people don't know who we are. They think we are just some descendants of slaves that got dropped here on a fucking boat. with no amnesia, that don't know who their family are. But then when you bring up slavery, all of a sudden everybody was slaves. If everybody was slaves, then how did y'all remember y'all ancestry? How did y'all remember where y'all came from? If everybody was slaves, then everybody shouldn't know where they come from. Okay? If the NAs were slaves, y'all shouldn't have y'all culture, your language, and everything like that. If, you know, if the Ireland was really slaves, and I got Irish ancestry, you know what I'm saying? They wouldn't lost their culture. At one point in time, the Irish was called black on the census. I got a video for y'all on that later on, or probably later on this week. But when the Irish first got here, they was most definitely labeled as black and colored like everybody else until they, you know what I'm saying? They joined the Brotherhood. Now they are white. Okay? The Germans, the Swedes, the Anglos, everybody so-called was enslaved, but only we was the ones that was reclassified. Only we was the ones that had our quote-unquote language stripped, which we really didn't have our language stripped. You know, only we was the ones that was called black and dead in the eyes of the law and all this other type of shit like that. And nobody else, ain't nobody else had their cities destroyed. Ain't nobody else had their cities submerged underwater. Ain't nobody had none of the atrocities that we went through. And I would sit here and say that nobody on the face of this earth went through the atrocities that we went through. Y'all went through some shit, but y'all ain't go through no shit like us. All right? Now just keep it going though. All right? Let's keep it going. So, again, it was proved. It was proved means that you cannot debunk it because it was already proved. There's nothing to debunk. It is now proved by the researchers, by Ben Croft and others, that black, quote unquote, black populations of Negroid type existed even up to recent times in America. Many of the monuments of Central America are decorated with Negro faces. And some of the idols found there are clearly intended to represent Negroes, with small skulls, short woolly hair, and thick lips. The Papu Vu, speaking of the first home of the Guatemalan race, says that so-called black and so-called white men together lived in this happy land in a great place, speaking one language. The Papu Vu goes on to relate how the people migrated from their ancestral home and how their language became altered and how some went to the east and others traveled west to Central America. All right. All right. Professor Sapase was in Professor Retzius in his Smithsonian report, meaning this is inside the Smithsonian. Again, you cannot debunk this. This is inside the Smithsonian report, considers that the so-called primitive of America are nearly related to the Gunchis of the Canary Islands and to the population of the Atlantic seaboard of Africa, which Latham comprises under the name of Egyptian Antides. All right. Grand Rising, Capri, of Antidae, Egyptian Antidae, right? The same form of skull is found in the Canary Islands off the African coast and the Carib Islands off the American coast. While the color of the skin is that of a reddish brown, the color of the skin is both that of a reddish brown. The ancient Egyptians, not the modern, but the ancient Egyptians depicted themselves as red men of much of the same complexion as exists today among some tribes of American Indians. Comparing ancient Egyptians to American Indians. Reddish brown. Okay. The ancient Peruvians, says Short, appeared from numerous examples of hair found in their tombs and have been auburn-haired race. Auburn-haired race. A lot of our grandmamas got auburn-haired. All right. A remarkable fact about the American Indians, and one which is a standing puzzle to the ethnologist is the wide range of color and complexions to be found amongst them. From the white tint of Menominee. White tint just means tan, your light-skinned brothers and shit. That's what they mean. To the Dakotas, to the Mandan, and to the Zuni tribes, many of whom have auburn hair and blue eyes. To the almost Negro blackness. We ain't black, but almost the Negro blackness of the Caros of Kansas and the now quote-unquote extinct tribes of California. We ain't extinct. We're labeled black. Black is the dead in the eyes of the law, so technically you would be extinct if you're classified as black. But in reality, we still here. So now the Indian race run through every shade of red, brown, copper, olive, cinnamon, and bronze. Stop. They said that the ancient Egyptians depict themselves as red men, much of the same complexion as exists today amongst the American Indian tribes. Then they say it's a wide range of colors and complexions to be found amongst them. The wide range is the fact that the Indian race run through every shade of red, brown, copper, olive, cinnamon, and bronze. That don't sound like nobody that call us a Wabo. Yeah, don't sound like nobody that call us a Wabo. My live keep stopping. You probably gotta leave and come back out. Come back in. Got green bars over here. Everybody good? Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Y'all straight? Do I need to restart it? Y'all let me know. Do I need to restart it? Can y'all hear me? Are we good? Okay, cool. Okay, good. Cool. All right. So now, so what we read, we talking about Atlantis now. We talking about Atlantis. Yeah, of course I'm puffing, man. Wake and bake, real Indian shit. But now, so we read that the ancient Egyptians depicted themselves as red men. And then we know that we, or Indians, which is still us, we range and we run from a wide variety of brown shades of color. All right? Wide shades. We talking about red, brown. We talking about copper. We talking about olive. We talking about cinnamon and bronze. You feel me? We shall see by and by how the diversity of the complexions of the tribe. Let's flip the page. Let's get into the Toltec race, right? The Toltec race. We now come to the Toltec race, or the third sub race. The third sub race. If y'all want to know what a sub race is, let me know. I'll pull it up and we can go over it so we can understand. We now come to the Toltec, a third sub race. This was a magnificent development. It ruled the whole continent of Atlantis for thousands of years in great material power and glory. Indeed, so dominant and so endowed with vitality was this race that intermarriages with the following sub-races failed to modify the type. All right. which still remain essentially Toltec. And hundreds of thousands of years later, we found one of their remote family races ruling magnificently in Mexico and Peru. Long ages before their degenerate descendants, were conquered by the fiercer Aztec tribes from the north. The complexion of this race was also a red-brown, but they were redder or more copper-colored than the Talaveti. They also were a tall race, averaging about 8 feet during the period of their ascendancy, but of course dwindling as all races did to the dimensions that are common to today. The type was an improvement on two previous sub-races, the features being straight and well marked, not unlike the ancient Greek. All right, Grand Risings tab, like the ancient Greek. The approximate birthplace of this race may be seen marked with the figure 3 on the map. It lay near the west coast of Atlantis, about latitude 30 north in the whole of the surrounding country, embracing the bulk of the west coast of the continent, was peopled with pure Toltec race. But as we shall see when dealing with the political organization, their territory eventually extended right across the continent, and it was from their great capital on the eastern coast that the Toltec emperors held their almost worldwide sway. Grand Rapids, most definitely. Is that in day dealer? Alright, let's go to the next Atlantean race. The Ramal race. Alright? The Ramal race. Now the period represented by number 1. Map number 1 shows the land surface of the earth as it existed about 1 million years ago. But the Ramal race came into existence between 4 to 5 million years ago, at which period large portions of the great southern continent of Lemuria still existed. Lemuria, that's over there by California. You got Atlantis over here on the east coast, and you got Lemuria over there on the west coast. This is how India Superior became India Superior. We are Asia Major, okay? We are Asia Major, all right? So Lemuria still existed. Shout out to Queen Moon and Isis. While the continent of Atlantis had not assumed the proportions it ultimately obtained, it was upon a spur of this Lemurian land that the Ramal race was born. So the Ramal race are Lemurians. Roughly, it may be located at latitude 7 degrees north and longitude 7 degrees north and longitude 5 degrees west. In latitude 7 degrees north and longitude 5 degrees west, which are reference to any modern atlas, or Atlantis is where you get atlas from, will show to lie on the Ashanti coast of today. What's happening, Walida? It lies on the coast of Ashanti today. It was a hot, moist country where huge antediluvian animals lived in reedy swamps and dank forests. The Ramal were dark race. The Ramals were a dark race. The Ramals were a dark race. Their complexion being a sort of mahogany. We ain't gonna say black because nobody's is black. All right, they like to throw that in there to let you know that you are similar mortus. All right, you still gotta dodge the hijack when you read these books. This is why etymology is important. But we good though. but their complexion was mahogany. Shout out to the mahogany people out there. Their height in these days was about 10 to 12 feet. Truly a race of giants. Stop. Stop. Who are the Nephilim? Who are the Nephilim? People think that the Nephilim are white folk. Like Nephilim, white people are Nephilim. No, the world was melanated. In the times of Nephilims, there was no such thing as white people. There was albinos. Albinos was around in deep copper color, mahogany, cinnamon, olive. People was around. But there was no blonde moon person that you see today that was back in the giant days. We are the ancient people of the face of this earth. At this point, whether you are in Africa, whether you swarthy in Africa, whether you swarthy in America, whether you swarthy in the Pacific Islands and all the way to Hindustan and all that type of stuff, we melanated people are the most ancient people, the ancient people of this face of this earth. People don't like it. They call it black supremacy. But, I mean, shit, it is what the fuck it is at this point. All right? It is what it is at this point. Okay? Folks gotta understand it. And y'all tap dancing Negroes on here that's tap dancing for them, y'all slow. Because y'all the same people that say the world was melanated. And then when we was like, well, yeah, we are American Indians. No, America wasn't swarthy. They was them. Oh. So America looked like them while the rest of the world was us. That's what y'all believe. This is why y'all can't believe any greatness about this landmass, is because y'all was indoctrinated to hate this landmass, because subconsciously you are indoctrinated to hate yourself. So you gonna hate everything about your homeland. This is your home. America not my home. No, America is your home. The government ain't your government. Your problem is the government. It's not the landmass of America. The landmass of America is rich in resources. They tell y'all they get resources from Africa, but everything in your household is made from China. They tell you they get all the resources from there, but all Africans coming over here looking for resources. If all the resources is over there, then why are the Africans coming over here looking for resources to send back home? Huh? If Africa was so great and got all the resources, we should have African money. We don't, though. We have nothing from there. But they got diamonds. We got diamonds here too. That's the thing. When we was growing up and they gave us American history, they never taught us American history, because as soon as you open up the book on American history, you end up in Greek or Greece or Rome. But now you understand that the maps is flipped, that Greek, Greece, and Rome was here. You understand that Morocco was here. You understand that Egypt, ancient Egypt, was here. You understand that this is Asia Major. You understand that this is India Superior. You understand that America is the ancient landmass of Atlantis, and it never sunk. We've been living on Atlantis this whole time. Why you think you have Atlanta? Why you think you have the Atlantic Ocean? You still living and walking on Atlantis. A piece of it went underwater. A piece of Atlantis went underwater. Remember, they said Atlantis broke off and it sunk. Well, two things. It broke off, but it didn't sink. The water levels rose. Remember, it was a flood. The flood, the landmass ain't never sunk. It was just flooded. It's still at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean still to this day. There's pictures of it. They know where it's at. It was no lost city of Atlantis. They knew exactly where that piece broke off at. The same thing. Live network unstable. They playing with your boy. They playing with your boy. All right. So all of this is what connected us to what we know as India. You know, modern day India. Okay. We still here. We ain't never go nowhere. We ain't never go nowhere. We still here. Let's keep going though. Let's keep going. So there was a truly giant race. So not only were they a dark race of a deep mahogany color, but they were giants. They were giants. But through the centuries, their stature gradually dwindled like everything else, as did that of all races in turn. And later on, we shall find they had shrunk to the stature of the forefools man. They ultimately migrated to the southern shores of Atlantis, where they were engaged in constant warfare with the 6th and 7th sub-races of the Lemurians. Then inhabiting that country, a large part of that tribe eventually moved north, while the remainder settled down and intermarried with these black Lemurian aborigines. Ooh, what did he say? These black Lemurian aborigines. Not white Lemurian aborigines. All right. Not yellow. We talking about melanated folk. And they intermarried. So you have mahogany black people, aka dark races, the giants. They intermarried with other melanated Lemurian aborigines. So if you mix melanated on melanated, then the people will come out melanated. Ah, okay. You feel me? Let's get it. Let's get it. Hop out the 15 passenger. This is it. And you feel me? Big one. Alright. Aborigines. The result was that at the period, we were dealing with the first map period. There were no purebloods left in the South, as they say. As we shall see, it was from these dark races. It was from these dark races who inhabited the equator province and the extreme south of the continent that the Toltec conquerors subsequently drew their supplies of slaves. We still talking about melanated people and giants and shit too. So they subsequently drew their supplies of slaves. The remainder of the race, however, reached the extreme northeastern promontories contagious with Iceland. All right. So they kept migrating up north through Canada and eventually reaching Iceland. All right. Iceland, Greenland, Ireland is still part of America. Ooh, look, we ain't gonna go too deep, but still. So they went to Iceland, and dwelling there for untold generations, they gradually became lighter in color until the date of the first map period. We find them a tolerably fair people. All right. So they mutated. Their descendants eventually became subjects, at least nominally, to the Semite king, to the Semite king, to the Semite king, to the Shamite king, to the Shemite king. They became subjects. They was fair-skinned people. They became light-colored. They were slaves. Slaves mean Slavs. Y'all connecting the dots. Tolerably fair. Yeah, they was tolerably fair. That they dwelt here for untold generations is not meant to imply that their occupation was unbroken. For stress of circumstances at intervals of time drove them south. The cold of the glacial epochs, of course, operated alike with the other races, but the few words to be said on this subject, many as well come in here. Oh man. All right, so before we flip the page, let's go ahead, review what we talked about so much. So the Roma race is a race from Lemuria. All right, they were dark skinned and mahogany in color. They were 10 to 12 feet, a truly race of giants. You feel me? They was well statured, and they also mixed and intermarried with the other melanated Lemurian Aborigines, but they said the black Lemurian Aborigines. All right, peace. What's happening, Kimmy? What's happening, pretty eyes? You know what I'm saying? So that's who the Ramal was. And the Ramal also, like, they're after they mix and their descendants or whatever, the descendants of the mixture of the black Lemurians and the Ramal race, they were still dark and they inhabited the province of the equator and everything like that. They also drew their supplies of slaves. You know, the remainder of the race, they reached the northeastern part of the world, all the way up to Iceland. Their genes started to mutate. This is where, you know, folks start becoming lighter in color. They start being fairer in color, the gene mutation happening. And the ones who was turning light and the recessive gene was kicking in, they ultimately became the slaves of the Shemite king. All right. Or the Semite king, as they call it. But that's, you know, Shemite come from Semite. They one and the same. So that's who the Ramal race was. I fuck with this book. We're going to read the whole motherfucking book on this. For real. We're going to read the whole thing on this one. Then they said too. So now they said too, inside figure 3, this is the figure 3 map that they was talking about. So here's Atlantis, which is touching America, of course. It's touching America, of course, as you can see. The top of Atlantis is touching, you know, like New York and shit like that up there. And then you got this part is, you know, is damn near connected to Georgia, because we know that this is Mexico. Then you got Florida and Georgia right up in here. You know what I'm saying? You see, like Florida and Georgia up in here. You got the Fertile Crescent, Florida. Georgia would be right here on the corner, right there at the tip of Atlantis, right there, aka Atlanta. This is why you got Atlanta. This is why you got Atlanta. This is why you got Atlanta. Then this is why you got Miami tribe. Miami tribe are from Atlantis. Miami tribe from Atlantis. Okay. Then this is the Ramal, right? So now they also said that they also touched the Ivory Coast, and they also touched the west coast of Africa. As you can see, this North Africa. This is where the Berberi tribe would be, the Berberi tribe. The Chaldeans, the Berberi tribe of Chaldeans are right here. They are also Atlanteans in Lemurian mixture that we just read about, created the Chaldeans. So this your Iberian Peninsula, your North Africa right here. This is the antediluvian. This is why I keep saying that Moors and Indians
are the same people, because we all are Lemurians and Atlanteans. We are from Asia Major, right? Right. So, they count the coast of Africa. This is why you can find people that look like us in these regions of Africa. You feel me? And then, this would be Asia Major. Asia Major is West Asia that connects to Europe. Asia Minor is West Asia that connects to Europe, and Asia Major is the other side of Asia where Taiwan, Korea, the Pacific Islands are, and it wrap around and it connects to California and the West Coast. So, you don't live on a globe. You don't live on a globe. What's happening, Real Fat Bass? Glad you could tap in. You don't live on a globe. So, and then also the Atlanteans went down here to South America. You got Greenland, Iceland, Ireland. You got all that up there, right? So that's what Figure 3 was talking about when we was talking about the Ramal tribe. This is, this is the, you screenshot it. And this is just a wider picture of it. What's happening, Yusef? And this is just a wider picture of, Atlantis. Feel me? You got America right here, of course. Yeah, Atlantis, America. All the red is the Atlanteans and Lemurians. All the red is that. Boom, 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 boom. India Superior. This is Asia Major on this side. Asia Major, Asia Minor, Major. So boom, 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 boom. And it keeps going, man. Dope map. All right. Let's flip here real quick. We're going to let it breathe real quick. Y'all hit y'all wake and bake. Real quick, y'all hit y'all wake and bake. Let that digest. If y'all want me to backtrack towards the end, because repetition is the father of learning, I will. That book dope. So, you had the Ramal tribe. I fuck with it. I like that name. I know a few brothers named Ramal. Oh. So this book is called Hindu America. Hindu America is a book that explains how, why, who, when, where the Hinduism and Buddhism began, and who started it, and where it really came from. And truth is stranger than fiction. Even though people ain't gonna believe it, because they are trained to hate this landmass and to think that this landmass has no culture and history. It began here. Okay? It began here. Burning sage and all that was happening, Dave. Burning sage and all that shit began here. Sage is indigenous to America. Sage is indigenous to America. We was burning sage here first. We took Hinduism, we created Hinduism, the Olmec, the Maya Naga, created Hinduism and Buddhism here. And then they took it over to the other part of India, superior to our brothers and sisters over there. Okay? This is why Hinduism is the oldest spiritual belief. See, you got to go to the source if you want to know the truth. You got to go to the source. You feel me? You got to go to the source. When I found out that, Yahshua disappeared for 30 years and he went to go study with the Hindus and the Buddhists and all them, I started wondering. I was like, why is he studying with them? Then I realized that it wasn't no Bible back then. The only spiritual beliefs was the spiritual beliefs and the practices that we are doing today and that we coming back around to today. Shout out to the Chaldeans. So he went to go study with the Nagas on spirituality, chakras, Shi, or Chi as the Chinese call it, but it's Shi. And they call the Maya Shi, So he went to study Shi, energy, yin, yang, crystals, higher self, lower self, as above, so below, as within, so without, esoteric knowledge, serpent wisdom is what he was being taught for those 30 years. And why 30 years? Because after 30 years, you become a monk. He was a monk. He was a monk. Okay? Study Hindu. Attach yourself to Hinduism. Attach yourself to Buddhism. Attach yourself to the spiritual. On this journey, real quick, before we flip the page, on this journey that we're doing, not only do we have to teach and soak up the knowledge, but we have to embody the knowledge. We have to walk like our ancestors, talk like our ancestors. We have to eat like our ancestors, breathe like our ancestors. We have to get back to our spiritual practices and beliefs like our ancestors. We got to rock the crystals like our ancestors. Okay? We got to be one with the source with like our ancestors. We can't be scared of this shit. This realm technically belongs to ours. This realm technically belongs to us. It's just been hijacked. Okay? Understand what's going on. And understand you've been lied to dramatically, tremendously. All right, what's happening? I got you. But we're gonna touch more into that though. Shout out to the Nagas. All 12 tribes of the Nagas. That's where you get your 12 tribes of Israel from. Because it was 12 tribes of Nagas. Flip the page. Let's get into it. Who discovered America? Damn, we just jumping straight out the gate with it, right? Hindu America. We talking about who discovered America. Who discovered America? The etymology of discover means to unveil. So, who discovered America or who unveiled America? That sounds better, don't it? Because
Peace, Lo. What's going on, man?
what's happening? What's happening?
Man, I ain't know you. I'm coming fucking up your teachers, man. I'm all hot by the box. I ain't know you was chilling. I mean, teaching. I mean,
All right. You good? What's happening?
shit, man. I thought cause I hopped in. I thought you sound like you got this all rim. I thought you was saying talking on the spiritual note. I see you got that Papa leg bar. You change
Oh, I
your
was, Oh, I was just having I dropped my little rants, little spiritual gems before we get back to reading and stuff. So.
yeah. I want to come over here and talk some spiritual talk. But listen, I'm gonna hop back. I'm gonna hop back up when you ain't teaching. I ain't trying to interact, right? I
All
mean,
right, that's cool, big dog.
interrupt. I mean,
You not, but it's cool.
all right.
Huh?
I say, all right, I'm gonna get back in the chat because I'm gonna wait till some more people come up.
Okay, that's cool.
All right.
All right. Got you set out a phone call. You be right back. Cool, cool. So, who discovered America? The etymology of discover means to unveil. So, who unveiled America? Who betrayed the secret? Mm. Who betrayed the secret of America? Let's get into it. If you're new to the page, go ahead and hit that follow button. I guarantee I do this every time I go live. You're going to learn something new every day. So, chapter 1. Who unveiled America or who discovered America? Those who first arrived on the continent, later to be known as America, were groups of men driven by that mighty current that set out from India, which we know what India is, and India superior and stuff, so just hang in there. So we set out from Hindustan towards the east. History of Mexico. Mexican government publications. I mean, they ain't gonna believe it either. Like it's the white man's book, even though it's Mexican. So are y'all. But anyways, the Maya, human types are like those of India. The Maya, who are the Maya, y'all? The Maya Naga. The Maya Naga. The Maya Naga human types are like those of India. All right. The irreproachable technique of their relief and the Assumptionist bead dress. Okay. And the orientationist buildings on high and the system of constructions all speak of India and the Orient. Orient just means east. We already east. They talking about America. India superior. The professor of Raman Mano of the National Museum of Mexico. Oh, still in Mexico with it. Damn, dropping hella gems down there. We need to go down there. Now, we just gonna thug it out through it. The Hindu merchants brought to Mexico the 18-month year. The 18 months year. Hold on, what? The 18 months year. Thought it was only 12 months. How the fuck you get 18 months? Forgot the calendars wasn't switched yet. Duh. So, the 18 months year of the Pandras and the customs of trade, Gaulded and Indian Bazaar. That is in the Hiwat Primitive Traditional History, page 834 and 836. All right. Now, that the North American Indians belong to a northern race who made their way to the southern hemisphere, both in America and Asia. Asia Major, both in America and Asia, is proved by the absolute identity between the national systems of relationships of the Iroquois, the American Indian tribe, and the Indian Dravidians shown in the tables of Kajini. Look, my tongue ain't rolling, y'all forgive me. And you can find that in Morgan's Ancient Society to coexist with the form of marriage which to be called Panya Legon in Sanskrit. All right. So you have American Indians and you have Indian Dravidians. Do you know who the Indian Dravidians are? They're calling you a Weibo on this app. Oh, they're calling you a Weibo on this app. Those would be your Indian Dravidians, and we would be your American Indians. Okay? Peep game, man. Peep game. Nothing's what it seems, and truth is stranger than fiction. One of the most fascinating features of the ancient civilizations of America is the mystery that shrouds them even in the 20th century. No other country offers such mysterious problems as vast the continent of America. Listen, no other country. Listen, they're calling America a country, not a continent. No other country offers such mysterious problems as the vast continent of America. All right. America is a country inside of Asia Major. All right, listen, how they flipped it real quick. No other country. Why would you compare it to a country in that other continents? That's why I'm doing that. That's why I'm slowing it down for you. Notice the switch. So when you read, you know how to dodge the hijacks when you read these books. All right. The best lies is the ones with the truth in it. Most lies are 85% true. Okay. Listen. That's psychology for you. No other country, they didn't compare it to no continent. No other country is because America's a country. Amaru Khan is a country in India Superior, which is inside of Asia Major. Listen, the innumerable theories and suspicions, and it just keeps coming up. The unnormal theories and suspicions have been offered by imaginative brains, and while some of those theories appear reasonable, yet they fail withstand through analysis. That's not true. We just read the Mexican government publication at the top. We just read the National Museum of Mexico at the top. We just read somebody in the Smithsonian in the last book about Atlantis. All right. And they said it is proved. Listen to how they do you. Listen to how they do you. Do you understand how to read double talk? You got to understand how to read double talk. It's important. Who unveiled America? And I keep saying unveiled because I'm using the etymology of discovered, because discovered throws people's mind way left field. I like using etymology definitions. Who unveiled America? Who betrayed the secret of America? It was the Hindus. It was the Hindus. The Hindus unveiled America. The Hindus betrayed the secret of America thousands of years before Columbus was even fucking born. Plato knew about Atlantis. The Greeks knew about Atlantis. Everybody knew about Atlantis because all of humanity comes from Atlantis. Human civilization is from Atlantis, America, Lemuria, and the whole Asia Major. Not Africa. Asia. And we are Asiatic. This is information you gotta understand. Because now when you leave your household, you can't make fun of Asian people because you're Asian yourself. Melanated man and melanated woman, you are the ancient Asians, matter of fact. Some of y'all the ancient Mongolians. Oh, why you think we got Mongolian spots? I keep trying to tell people, but ain't nobody listening. You're saying it all wrong. Your history still flipped. But you got a hatred and a racist mindset because other people's being racist on this app that you can't think clear. Why do you have Mongolian spots? Why are you Asiatic, Afro-Asiatic, ancient Asian man? Do you understand who you are still? Do you understand Genghis Khan is a Shamite? He was a Moor. He wore a turban and feathers. I keep telling y'all to watch the Disney movie Mulan. Yeah, Mongolian spots. Our kids come out with green spots on their back. They call it Mongolian spots. The green spots on our babies' backs is called Mongolian spots. You got to understand what a Dravidian and Neanderthal, and you got to understand what all of these things are to understand how they flipped everything. All Indians, all American Indians, all Maya Nagas are born with Mongolian spots. Why would they call it Mongolian spots if you were African? Why would they give you an Asian terminology if you was African? That don't make sense. They should have been called, those were African spots. Why they ain't call them African spots? Those are African spots. This child is African. No. The doctors know what's up. They see them spots on our kids and they go back and they report it. We got another one. Damn. They just keep being born. Yep. Another one with Mongolian spots. We are the Asians. The ancient ones, though. Okay? Some Mongolian, some Dravidian, some Shamite, some Neanderthals even. There were melanated Neanderthals. Nobody want to talk about that. See, when you teach history, you got to teach it with integrity. The good, the bad, and the ugly. You save face because you're melanated. Nah, man, Los gonna tell you the truth. There were white Neanderthals and they were melanated Neanderthals. They were white Europeans, albinos, and they were melanated Europeans. I'm gonna give you the whole spectrum because you gotta understand that colorism is an illusion. They use it, but it's an illusion as a whole. Race is an illusion as a whole. So if race is an illusion, so is racism. The only reason why the illusion works is if you give it energy in this holographic universe to manifest it in the physical realm to make it real. That's how that works. But once you start getting your mind back, start reading and exercising your brain and being able to think for yourself as an individual, you break all matrix codes and spectrums. Nobody can't tell you anything no more, which is kind of good, which means they can't pull the wool over your eyes. A person got to be able to tell you some shit to pull the wool over their eye, over your eyes. But if you know some shit, can't nobody put the wool over your eyes because ain't no everybody just gonna tell you just anything now. You keeping it real. Exactly. Participating keeps the illusion alive. In that knowing who you are. Let's continue going though. Real quick. Next rant, 30 minutes. We right back at it, baby. You feel me? Yeah. In this book called The Wonderful Race from India, right? India Superior. Professor Rama Mena Krita of the National Museum of Mexico, in the book Mexican Archaeology, says a deep mystery unfolds the tribes that inhabited the states of Chiapas in the district named Palenque. Their wonderful works of art of perfect design and finished workmanship seems to say that these people were greatly advanced. They were greatly advanced. They were greatly advanced and of recent age, and they were young. Yet their writings and anthropological type, as well as their personal ornaments, and finally their systems and styles of constructions clearly in the remotest antiquity. The arrangement of calciform writing, certainly characters, and even certain objects vaguely bringing to mind the Maya people who unveiled America, the Hindus. And what did they unveil? The Maya Nagas, their people. The reason why the Hindus can point the world in the right direction to America is because of India Superior. We are, ours are Indians. But precisely the placing in series of the writing blocks, and by the general appearance of the writing, it is considered the Oriental origin. Oriental does not mean Bruce Lee. Oriental means East. East origins. That's all that means. We are in the East because the sun rises in the East. The compasses is flipped. We are in the East. North is down because of the etymology of north means below. It means hell. It means deep. It means lower. That's the etymology of north. We are in the East. And the sun always rises over here. And when you get off work, the sun's going to the west, to Asia Minor. You don't live on a globe. All right. So it was considered of the Oriental origin, and the greater antiquities than that occurred in the Nestorian stone. Got another stone for us to read. At the Nestorian stone,
more than 10,000 years. It said, translated, the human types are like those of India. The types are those of India. Their perfection in design, their irreproachable technique of their beliefs, and the sumptuous headdress, your turban. Some of our ladies just waking up, got the head wrap on. Yes, your turban. The sumptuous headdress and the ostentatious buildings on the high, aka your Moorish architecture. The system of construction, your Moorish architecture. Your mound builders, all right? Your Maya Nagas, whatever you want to label them, us. All speaks of India in the Orient, the East. All right? Sea route from India was this. They crossed the sacred God tree. What is the sacred God tree? They crossed it though. The birds, also sacred, are admittedly Oriental, East, Buddhistic. Buddhic was found in Mexico. Orient, East. Now, Eurozooi Bera has demonstrated indisputably, I don't know why my tongue ain't rolling, I probably ain't had no coffee, but indisputably, and as there exists the possibility of a route between India and our coast, we are very near solving the mystery that enfolds this race. The Hindu origins of language. The same author writes, at present, we are studying the native tongue and found that at least as far as the Noted, the Zapteca, and the Maya languages are concerned. The Maya languages are concerned. They are Hindu-European, aka Sanskrit. What? The Nahati, Zapoteca, and Maya languages are concerned that they are Hindu-European, aka Indo-European, aka Sanskrit origin. All right. The aforementioned studies are by Dr. Magna Peon and Professor Humberlo J. Chrono. And you can find a book called The 10,000-Year-Old Civilization. The Mexican professor concludes. This ain't the white man's books. The Mexican professor concludes. In Palenque, we find what is probably the oldest civilization in America. The oldest civilization in America. What's happening, Naturalisa? At least 10,000 years old, yet its cuneiform writings is wonderful, though not legible in all its parts, as far as yet as we have deciphered only certain dates, Oriental East phenograms, and signs which are isolated without connection. So, when people tell you that Indian is an Indo-European language, tell them you know. It's Sanskrit. So guess what? The white man didn't call you Indians like they tried to tell you that Christopher Columbus did. You was already calling yourself Indians because Indian is a tribe and Hindu is another tribe. And the Nagas have 12 tribes, and it's a lot more than that. People's brains can't expand that wide to comprehend it. They only think black or white, black or white, black or white. And you still see it. You still see it in other lives. I see a whole lot of people who be inside our lives. You know, when we be talking about race and all this type of stuff. But then they go to other people's lives, and when I see them, a light-skinned person to cut on their camera, and they got a little recessive here, and they're like, that's white. They a whole white person. But you just left our lives saying
hearing us say that there's no such thing as a white person or a black person. What is a white person? Because even Africans fit in the category as white. When you leave our lives, don't go back to your ignorance. Okay? You come to class to learn. And once you learn something, you apply the knowledge. You start working at it. You start making it a habit. Stop calling people white. If we want people to stop calling us black, we got to stop calling people white. It's an integrity thing. Do unto others as you want them to do unto you. Okay? Peep game. So, stop that. Because a lot of these people are still our people. They just indoctrinated like us before we got the knowledge. That's it. They just indoctrinated like us before we got the knowledge. Our programming wasn't as deep because we was already curious in the beginning. That's the only thing that made it easier for us to wake up, is because we was already curious anyway. A lot of starseeds are curious people by nature. This is why all of us got bad stories of getting our ass whooped growing up, because all our ass whoopings was just because we was curious. We wanted to know how shit worked and what was what. And they said no. And when they told us no, we got curious, like, why? And then we went to go find out why and got an ass whooping at the same time. But a win is a win. You know what I'm saying? So shit, we was already curious. So it was a little easier for us to wake up. We're dealing with a lot of people who aren't curious. They want to know, but they're not curious enough. And then some of them have epistemolophobia. You know what I'm saying? They have a fear of information. They have a fear of learning. They have a fear that their whole reality will be shattered. But I'm trying to tell y'all there's nothing to fear. I woke up and I still go to my 9 to 5 and still smile. So you straight. You ain't gonna die. It ain't the end of the world because you got some knowledge. Okay? You cool, bro. Shit. And then for those in the back, they'll be like, okay, so we got the knowledge. What do we do now? Shit, we build. We do what everybody else do. We build. You know what I'm saying? We are builders. Building something is deep in your soul. I don't know y'all. I haven't met a lot of y'all in person. Building something and creating something is always in our souls. It's in your soul. Right now, you got an idea of how you can build something to get this type of outcome. Right now, watching me, you got a whole idea on how you can create something. Some of us creators that's watching me right now on the live, y'all having ideas on creating the next video, creating something. Building is inside you naturally. Okay? That's what we do. We build. And when we're not building, we feel stuck, stagnated. You don't know. You feel like blah. You know what I'm saying? You go to work every day. You getting the money. You stacking the money. A lot of our people got bands on top of bands and everything, but something's still missing. There's something still missing though. What's missing is the spirit and the energy to willing to build, Notice how excited everybody got when we all start talking about self-determination and building a community and building the micronation. Did y'all pay attention to the comments? How excited everybody got? Everybody in the comments like, yeah, I'm down, yeah, man. We all was like, yeah. That's in you to build your empire again. Your soul know what happened. And your soul is calling you to do it. This is why, like O said, there's a special demographic of people that is waking up. And we are here to wake up others like us. We're not here to wake up everybody because everybody ain't us. We're here to wake up us. Okay? And those of us who feel a spiritual connection to the information and the knowledge and everything and the census records and everything that we've been talking about, them are people. You got to understand the soul. You got to move with discernment. You got to understand that you're moving in a realm full of low vibrating entities who don't want to see you build nothing. Okay? Because your success is their destruction. We are polar opposites. Yin and yang. What's good for us is bad for them. You know what I'm saying? What's good for us is bad for them. What's good for them is bad for us. We are polar opposites. We are not the same. And it's okay to understand that. That don't make you racist. That don't make you no black supremacist. That don't make you no terrorist. That don't make you no cult leader. That don't make you nothing from understanding spirit. And understanding that we not the same. That don't make you look, that ain't nothing. But the problem is now in 2023 is that we got all these political correctness terminologies and all of these things to put in place so we don't hurt people's feelings. We got a bunch of soft ass people in society. You can't even fart wrong without offending people. You know what I'm saying? Shit. These folks done traumatized the world with hot sauce 19 to the point you can't even clear your damn throat no more without people looking at you crazy. You niggas, the fuck wrong with you, bro? You straight? Like, damn. The media traumatized y'all. Y'all ain't even caught the shit. Most of us haven't even met nobody who caught the shit. You know what I'm saying? And everybody that we finding out who's catching it all of a sudden is catching the shit all at the end. All at the end of the shit. Now everybody getting, okay, cool. No, you don't, bro. You got seasonal flu. Go home, drink some ginger ale, get some rest, get you some black seed oil, and lay your ass down and get some rest and heal. You got the seasonal flu. Hot sauce 19 is knocking off everybody. So what's the seasonal flu? All y'all did was just change names. You just changed names. What are you talking about? 1 million, and that's what's crazy. Like, they boost that up to make it as a demic. You feel me? When I'm looking at the seasonal flu numbers, now I was like, damn, it's more people still dying from that than dying from this. Why is this a demic and this not? Ain't that something? I'm telling people this shit. Ain't nobody listening. No, what do you know, Los? You ain't no news anchor. Shit, news anchors don't know shit. They being told what to tell you from the teleprompter. What? They don't know nothing. They up here reading good in the motherfucker. Today on Channel 6 News on Fox and CNN, you know what I'm saying? Oh, hot sauce 19 is very high, a 98% survival rate, but a lot of people is catching it, older people. Like, folks is missing it. Everybody running out. Oh my God. Everybody running around with toilet paper and shit. Oh my God, COVID. Oh my God, hot sauce 19 is get some toilet paper. What? I'm sitting here like, and y'all calling me crazy though. You're not a news anchor. You're not a doctor. You don't know what you're talking about, and you don't understand nothing because you grabbing toilet paper. The fuck? But we crazy. I was laughing at people, man. That shit was comedy to me. I wasn't even scared. I was laughing. I was in high vibrations. My immune system was good. I was laughing, watching this shit. Y'all silly as hell. Y'all silly as hell. Folks better, man, look. For real, folk crazy. And all them across the country is reading from the exact same script. Yeah. Yeah, drive-thrus kill one drive-by, most definitely. If we get 4,000 of our people together, $500 each, we can have $2 million. Most definitely, man. Economics, logic thinking. And with $2 million, with 4,000 people with $2 million, you could take $1 million and go buy you over 100 acres of land. And then with the other $1 million, you can start building a garden, and you can start building communities, and you can start building schools, and all the nurses and all the doctors in our community can actually
open up hospitals and operate their own independent hospitals, and we can open up our own independent banks, and we can open up our own all type of shit, and we can live off grid, and we can be good. We ain't even got to be part of the city. 4,000 people, $500 a piece, $2 million. And guess what? If you do that, because we could do that shit overnight on a payday. Everybody get $500, 4,000 people on a payday. You can do that shit overnight. When we wake up, we can go get some land just like that and start just like that. In the next 2 weeks, when everybody get paid again, another $500, that's another $2 million of them same 4,000 people on next payday to take the same $2 million to continue building. And within 5 months, you would have a whole operating community that everybody can move into and gate that bitch off, and our kids can run and play on 100 million acres of a state. Because Georgia is 30 million acres, and I'm talking about buying 100 million acres. How many states is that? And your kids can run and play with water guns again. You feel me? That's the mindset that they don't want people to have. On top of that, knowing who you are. That scared them. That gets our lives banned. Shit, that get my lives permanently banned for going too deep about unity. That's why Los got so many accounts.
But again, it's in you to build. It's in you to build. You see how I just talk about that building plan, and all y'all felt that in your soul? That's because you a mound builder. You an ancient Maya Naga. It's in you to build something. And you don't need no college degree for that. You don't need no college degree for that. All right, all you need is just $500 in Unity. Pretty much all you need is a job in Unity to start building off grid. You don't need no college degree for that. You know what I'm saying? That unless you're trying to operate within our community, such as healing and teaching and stuff like that. And then again, you still don't need no degree. I ain't got no teaching degree. I just know how to read and comprehend and use logic thinking to connect the dots and everything like that. Just a little bit higher than most, which is cool, because students eventually become the teachers. Shit, I was a student before. You eventually become the teacher. And now you can teach the teacher something. And I love being taught stuff. Man, it's dope. It's an infinite circle. Iron sharpens iron. Now imagine a big community like that of all just a woke community that's literally a community of woke people. Bro, we're going to be living to be 1,000 years old and shit again. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be 1,000 years old. We can do it, y'all. We can do it. We'll get it done one day. We'll get it done one day. I appreciate that, yeah. When they said we spend 150 and 350 a week on bullshit, man, look, you ain't even gotta remind me. Look, man. Shit, DoorDash alone. For people that be DoorDashing, you spend that on DoorDash alone. All you gotta do is order twice on DoorDash. That $100 right there. Beep, beep. Ooh, and plus the tip. Boop, 150. That DoorDash alone. You know what I'm saying? Most definitely. So imagine if we all just on some Ramadan detox for like 6 months and just stack that money and invest that money inside our community. Look, man, you know how much money you save? And then when you do the off-grid living, there's videos floating around about people that's on off-grid. They only spend $200 a year and they live off-grid. Look at how much you're saving by being a community. You can't have a community without unity. Come on, man. You don't need no reparations. All we need is each other and our brains. Detached from the matrix fully. Welcome. I'm trying to get it right real quick. All right, cool. Thanks for all the gifts. Appreciate it. Thank you, Nicole, for the gifts. Thank y'all, everybody, for the gifts. So now that the Hindus discovered America 10,000 years ago, right? Discover means to unveil. So now that the Hindus unveiled America thousands of years before Columbus was born. Wonderful race from India, Professor Rama Mena, creator of that. Okay, so now, yeah, we already went through that. So now, yeah. So the human types are those of India and everything like that. Hold on, got one more slide. All right. Let's do the recap now. We made it to the end of the live. Oh, my bad. We kind of made it to the end of the live. You know, repetition is the father of learning, just to go over everything. Shout out to all the OGs, the in-betweens, the doobies. Thank you for hitting that follow. Everybody who hit that follow button. If you're new to the page. We talked about the story of Atlantis, William Scott Elliott. You know, if you want to screenshot it real quick before I flip it. You read in your off time, archives.org, the story of Atlantis. Excuse me. Inside the story of Atlantis, we read on page 35, the highlighted areas, we read that the Ramal race is an antediluvian race. They are a dark race in their complexions being sort of mahogany black, right? They were 10 and 12 feet. It was truly a race of giants. All right. They had good stature, but because of the frequency and the dimension falling, they dwindled like the rest of the races on Earth. Okay. They shrunk like everybody else. You know, they migrated to the southern shores of Atlantis. They was in constant warfare with the 6 and 7 sub races of the Lemurians that was inhabiting that country. And then eventually they settled down, they moved north, they intermarried with the black Lemurian Aborigines. Okay, that was the green highlighted area. And then after that, you know, as we shall, it was from these dark races who inhabited the equator province and the extreme south of the continent that the Toltec conquerors subsequently drew their supply of slaves. All right. And then they start migrating to the extreme northeastern region to Iceland. All right. And they gradually became lighter in color, which means, you know, the gene mutation start. You start getting albinos and like white passing colors and stuff like that. And until the date of the first map period, we find them tolerably fair people. You know, their descendants eventually became subjects. Subject is just another term for slave, at least to the Semite king. The Semite king, Semite means Shamite. So the Shamite king. So Sham. Okay. That was the Ramal race that we talked about in the book called The Story of Atlantis. And also, we talked about inside that same book on page 38, you have the Toltec race. And we read that the Toltec race, which is in Mexico and Peru, long ages before their degenerate descendants were conquered by the fiercer Aztec tribes from the north. The complexion of this race was also a red-brown, but they are redder and more copper-colored than the Tiaveti. They also were a tall race, averaging about 8 feet during the period of their ascendancy. All right. That's what we read about the Toltec race. And then we go here to the similarities and ethnological types on page 19. We also learn from the researches of La P. Gong and Bancroft and others that the black population of Negroid types existed even up to the recent times in America. We read that other black populations of Negroid types existed even up to the recent times in America. We still here. Many of the monuments in Central America are decorated with Negro faces. And for some of the idols found, there are clearly intended to represent Negroes. Clearly, all right? Just going over what we read. And they depict them with small skulls, short woolly hair, and thick lips. The Popol Vuh, speaking of the first home of the Guatemalan race, says that black and white men together. All right? Gene, and that white men is probably albinos, more likely. And we know nobody's black, so that is melanated or copper colored. So just fill it in. Copper color and albino men live together in this happy land in great peace, speaking one language. The Popol Vuh goes on to relate how the people migrated from their ancestral home and how their language became altered, and how some went to the east while others traveled west to Central America. How do you travel west to Central America? Have y'all caught that? When I read it the first time, how you travel west to Central America? Listen. And then we also read that the ancient Egyptians depicted themselves as red men of much the same complexion as existed today among some tribes of American Indians. The ancient Peruvian says short appeared from numerous examples of hair found in their tombs to have been amber-haired race. At remarkable facts about the American Indians, for which one is standing puzzled to the ethnologist, is the wide range of color and complexion to be found amongst them. From the tint of the Menominee and the Dakota and the Mandan and the Zuni tribes, many who have ambered hair and blue eyes, albinos, to the almost Negro blackness of the Caros of Kansas and the now quote-unquote extinct tribes of America or California. We are not extinct. We are labeled black, which means civiler mortus, which means you're dead in the eyes of the law. So if you're dead in the eyes of the law, you dead in the history books. That means that you are now extinct, but you're still here. Learn double talk. The Indian races run through every shade of red, brown, copper, olive, cinnamon, and bronze. Listen. The Indian races run through every shade of red, brown, copper, olive, cinnamon, and bronze. All right. All right. So that's what we read from This what story of Atlantis. Story of Atlantis, we covered that. The Maya Nagas, we covered that. The Nagas in the 19th century, we covered that yesterday. You know what I'm saying? These are us. Us are them. These are our people that they keep saying are extinct, but we are not extinct. You know, we are misclassified as misnomers, but extinct though. Think about it. When you're dead in the eyes of the law, black, you're dead in the history books, black, you're blacked out of history. So you're extinct, and you notice that only the quote unquote dark races are extinct. All the lighter skinned races are somehow not extinct. Peep how they do you. We are still here. I got pictures to the right that don't look extinct to me. All right. So we talked about the story of Atlantis. We talked about the Nagas in the 19th century. Just giving y'all some books. And we talked about Hindu America, and we learned who discovered America. We know the etymology of discover means to unveil. So we know who unveiled America. It was the Hindus. The Hindus is a tribe. And there were many tribes in India Superior and Asia Major. There were 12 Naga tribes / 12 tribes. Okay. And you had the Hindus, and you had all the other ones. You had the Vanchi and all the other Dravidian tribes that was living amongst us. Okay. Peace, peace. You know, the Atlantis map, and showed you where the Atlanteans migrated to. All the red is where the Atlanteans and Lemurians went. Same with this map. This map, all the continents is a little bit more closer because this is older. It gets older. So oh, my bad. Can y'all hear me now? Okay, cool. My bad. My finger was covering the speaker. So now notice Atlantis. So the word is right here, Atlantis. All of this is America, right? Look, you know, you got South America right here, North America, but Atlantis. All the red is Atlantis, 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 okay? Atlantis. You know, some people say Moroccan Empire. We say India Superior, Atlantis, Lemuria, you know, whatever title makes you feel best. But Atlantis right here in America. Boom. Now, as time hit, this is map one. This is Atlantis at its prime now. This is Atlantis in its prime. In its prime, it is America, and it's still America. So now, as time goes on and the land masses move and deluges and catastrophes start happening, the land masses start spreading a little more. Now Atlantis goes from America, now it's here. Okay, it started to break off. Okay, it started to break off. So now it's an island. The same thing that's happening in California, if they get another big earthquake, the same thing that's happening in Africa, they're splitting in two right now. Okay, so it split, broke off. And the older you get in the map dealing with Atlantis, the smaller it gets and the further away it gets and the landmass starts breaking. But the water is actually rising as well. Keep that in mind. And now you get what we have now in current day, which is the Poseidon's map, which is Atlantis is small now. The remnants is still in the red. You know what I'm saying? The remnants is in the red. Still America. But it broke off, got smaller, got smaller, got smaller, got shrunk, and then it fell, aka Bermuda Triangle. But the inhabitants of Atlantis still, they just migrated. They just left because Atlantis was going through a deluge. So the inhabitants had to leave. So, and they was also warring as well. But it was a catastrophe going on. So the inhabitants had to leave. So some, again, like we read, they went east and they went west. And yes, I'm doing it how ancient map is. They went east and they went west. All right. And they started populating. Feel me? So shout out to the Atlantis map. And shout out to of Atlantis. So with that being said, y'all, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Shout out to all the gifts. Thanks for all the gifts. Thanks for all the likes. Thanks for all the follows. Thank y'all for tuning in, learning something, soaking up something. I hope I taught you something today. Hope you took something away from it that, you can build on in your own personal thirst for knowledge and information and journey and stuff like that. If you haven't tapped into my main page on TikTok, this is my main page, Yates and Los. I just dropped some new videos on there. Got hella new videos. My podcast, Science for the Conscious Mind. If you got Spotify, I'm dropping new episodes. I'm gonna start dropping new episodes constantly. Like as soon as I get off here, I'm about to convert a few videos and few lives that you might have missed on the podcast. So if you want to catch up and you at work, you driving or whatever, and you can't physically see, you can still listen to me read the books and everything to you. So check out my podcast on Spotify, Science for the Conscious Mind, and also check out my YouTube, Science for the Conscious Mind. Like I said, Science for the Conscious Mind is on all platforms. If you missed any lives, I post all lives that you might have missed on my YouTube, Science for the Conscious Mind. Subscribe. Let's get the numbers up. Let's get the views up. Don't just subscribe. Also watch the videos for your boy. Just get them numbers up and just get the algorithm jumping. Hit that like. Hit that like. Hit that share. Check out my community board. Check out my community board on YouTube. I be posting all types of little gems and books, and interactions with that. So, if you don't see me on here, you can find me on my YouTube community page, my Instagram. You just find me on all platforms, so I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I love y'all, big steppers of knowledge. And shout out to all the OGs who tuned in and stayed to the end. Hey, I ain't gonna hold y'all, man. So with that being said, we're gonna end it like we always do. Vibrate high, peace, prosperity, abundance, gratefulness, gratitude, appreciativeness. Practice serenity. Control what you can control. Let go of what you can't control, and have the wisdom, know the difference, so you can balance out all karma in your present, past, and future life. Because your past, present, and future is happening simultaneously. Teach your kids what you didn't know, because your kids got a matrix as well too. They got robot friends and sheep teachers and GMO stuff and MK Ultra on the TV and cell phone. So don't shelter your kids. Teach your kids and be a guardian and guidance to your kids. Don't be no parent that rents. You understand me? Vibrate high, ground, get some sun, dig into chakras, dig into your birth chart, zodiacs, and understand that you are the Maya Naga, and we still are here.
and we waking up. I love y'all. Be easy. Enjoy y'all day. Don't work too hard. Work how they paying you.